Ethan stared at the flickering candles on the cake. 18 candles, 18 years. It was finally here, the day he'd been waiting for. It was supposed to be a day of celebration, a day of new beginnings, a day filled with the promise of a future bright and full of possibilities. He closed his eyes, making a silent wish, his heart heavy with a mixture of hope and uncertainty. The air in their small apartment was thick with the aroma of vanilla and the weight of unspoken worries. Ethan's mum, her face etched with fatigue, offered a tired smile as she placed the cake on the table. Her eyes, usually sparkling with warmth, seemed dimmed, reflecting the struggles they faced. Ethan tried to return his mum's smile, but his disappointment pricked at him. It wasn't the cake he had hoped for, the chocolate cake he had requested. This one was vanilla, a pale imitation of his heart's desire. "Where's Gramps?" Ethan asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Gramps, his grandfather, was supposed to be there, bringing the cake, sharing in the joy of Ethan's special day. "He'll be here soon, honey," his mum said, her voice strained. "He just had a little setback, that's all." Ethan knew it was more than a little setback. Gramps had injured his leg weeks ago, and the doctor's bills were piling up, casting a long shadow over their already fragile lives. The financial strain had been a constant companion, a dark cloud hanging over their lives. Ethan's mum had lost her job at the diner weeks ago, and finding a new one had been an uphill battle. The worry etched on her face was a constant reminder of their precarious situation. Ethan could see the toll it was taking on her, the way her shoulders slumped with exhaustion, the way her smile no longer reached her eyes. He wanted desperately to help, to ease her burden, but he felt powerless, trapped by his own circumstances. The rent was due, and the once full pantry was now bare. Ethan's 18th birthday, a milestone they had looked forward to, had become a stark reminder of their struggles. Ethan had pinned his hopes on this day, his 18th birthday. It wasn't just about the cake or the celebration. It was about the trust fund, the one his father had set up for him years ago. A trust fund that was supposed to secure his future, to give him opportunities his parents never had. But there was a catch, a cruel twist of fate. The trust fund was inaccessible until he moved out of his childhood home, a stipulation that seemed insurmountable given their current situation. Ethan's mom had been trying to find a way around it, searching for a Mrs. Davis, someone his father had mentioned in his will, someone who might hold the key to unlocking the trust fund. But Mrs. Davis had vanished, leaving them stranded, clinging to a hope that seemed to slip further away with each passing day. Days turned into weeks, and their situation grew more desperate. They were forced to leave their apartment, their meager belongings packed into a few worn suitcases. Ethan's mom had found a temporary job at a grocery store, but it was short-lived, her exhaustion and worry leading to mistakes that cost her the position. They were out of options, facing the harsh reality of homelessness. Ethan's mom had called a few shelters, but they were all full, their voices filled with apologies and a helplessness that mirrored her own. As they sat on a park bench, the weight of their circumstances crushing them, a stranger approached. He was a kind-faced man, his eyes crinkling at the corners with concern. He offered them food, a warm place to stay, a glimmer of hope in the darkness that had enveloped them. The stranger, whose name was David, welcomed them into his home, a small but cozy house filled with the aroma of freshly baked bread. As Ethan's mom poured out their story, her voice thick with emotion, David listened intently, his expression a mixture of empathy and something akin to recognition. When she mentioned Mrs. Davis, the name that had haunted their lives, David's eyes widened. He knew Mrs. Davis, had known her well. She had been his neighbor years ago, a kind and generous woman who had helped him during a difficult time in his life. David remembered Mrs. Davis speaking fondly of a young woman she had befriended, a struggling single mother with a bright and kind-hearted son. A young woman who had gone out of her way to help Mrs. Davis, running errands, offering companionship, her kindness leaving an enduring mark. David's voice trembled with emotion as he revealed the truth to Ethan and his mom. Mrs. Davis had passed away a few months ago, but not before entrusting him with a letter addressed to Ethan's mother. In the letter, Mrs. Davis expressed her gratitude for the kindness shown to her, for the simple acts of compassion that had meant the world to her, and she revealed the reason for the stipulation in the trust fund, a way to ensure that Ethan learned the importance of hard work and resilience before inheriting his father's wealth. With the help of Mrs. Davis's lawyer, David was able to navigate the legal complexities and grant Ethan access to the trust fund. But more importantly, he offered them a place to stay, a fresh start, a chance to rebuild their lives. Ethan's 18th birthday had been a day of unexpected twists and turns, a roller coaster of emotions. What had begun with disappointment and uncertainty had transformed into a testament to the enduring power of kindness. A reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope could bloom again. They moved into David's spare room, the house filled with laughter and the aroma of home-cooked meals. Ethan's mum found a job at a local bakery, her passion for baking reignited, her smile returning with a newfound radiance. Ethan enrolled in college, his heart filled with gratitude and a determination to honor his parents' legacy, to make the most of the second chance they had been given. As Ethan blew out the candles on his belated birthday cake, this time a decadent chocolate creation baked by his mum, he realized that life was full of surprises. It was a journey filled with ups and downs, unexpected detours, and moments of grace. The trust fund would provide financial security, but it was the kindness of strangers, the echoes of his parents' love, and the enduring power of hope that would truly shape his future. And in that moment, surrounded by love and laughter, Ethan knew that he was finally home.